Lay Ill Kid at OneYoungsta, holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, oh yeah, we are breaking down the season finale of course, your main man from Freeland, Black Lightning. This is a different setup than I usually do. Normally, I do the main show, all kinds of stuff and added items and everything, but this is a special occasion because this show has finally come to an end with a bang. We've had tons of stuff and there's so much to get into. I'm going to get into the finale first, and then we'll talk about the show, how I dug it and how I, got into it. There's a couple people watching right now. Peace. What up, y'all? Nice to see you guys up in the chat. Hopefully you saw the show, because if not, I'm going to be spoiling the craziness out of this thing. I really enjoy this show. I'm going to get some stuff out of the way. Sponsors, He Hath Provided, which is He Hath Provided at Etsy, so you can find that. Get your coffee scrubs and all that good stuff on. Get your skin tight. And then CureBrand.com. Check out those hats, shirts, hoodies, all that stuff for that urban flavor. You can check that out. And then also don't forget, you can get that NERDSoul gear at shop.ThatNERDSoul.com. So that's out of the way. Let's get into the show. I'm digging it. I love how we got the flashbacks of how Jefferson Pierce's relationship was with his father when we started off. I just really enjoyed that vibe. Anything that has something like a father and son kind of relationship, I'm always head over heels for it. So I really dug that. Also, I like the fact that we see how passionate he was. We got to see just how I guess strong and how deep in his convictions he was about kind of helping Freeland, things of that nature, being around to be an example, to be a symbol. So I really dug that, because we got that relationship with Gamby as well. And I just thought that was really sick the way they played that out, because I feel like we needed that. I feel like we needed some of that history to provide some context, especially to provide the context around how Jefferson first got his powers. I think that's a very important part, or a very important issue in this show. It kind of shows how he came to be, because now we know that, of course, he manifested his powers because, of course, he was being chased down during some riots. And those powers didn't really fully mature until about 15 years later. So I like the context and the history between him and his father, which we get a little more later. And then also Gamby and Grandpa Pierce. And I like the whole, I guess, North Freeland kind of out in the woods cabin vibe, because I feel like we finally got a chance to slow down a little bit, to learn a little more about the past, in this case on the ASA side and also on Gamby's side, because there's a lot that Gamby just, hasn't gotten a chance to get to, because we're always jumping from issue to issue to issue to danger to whatever. So we finally got a chance to really get into what is going on, how are we going to fix this, how are we going to square away this situation, and also, how Gamby feels, and how Gamby really fits into their family, because all of these people have become a unit, and a very strong unit, which is something that I didn't think was going to happen after the whole kind of, I guess you could say, confession from Gamby, if you will. So it's good. It's a really good thing that he was able to come through and really kind of open himself up after the confession. And then also on Anissa's side, to be able to have the wherewithal, have the I guess intuitive nature to know that he needed to be seen too. And they were able to connect with one another, which I thought was extremely dope. Because now you see how strong they are, just how tight knit of a unit they are. it's incredible. Like, this show, man, this show has crushed it because they have spent a lot of time showing us how this family works, who this family is, and just their interconnected emotions and their history and their interpersonal relationships inside and outside of those actions. You know, like who Jefferson Pierce is at school, and you know who he is with Gamby and with the girls. So I just like that time that they had at the, you know, I'll say at the cabin, you know, at the cabin to kind of slow things down and really get into who they are and who they're planning on being, or, you know, what they will become. Big shout out to Saul Guerrero from Rogue One. But moving on with the whole idea of Team Tobias and how the bad guys aren't always chummy with each other. You know, I like that there was some trouble in paradise when it comes to their relationship and how they dealt with each other and one another, and how you know, you got Khalil, you got Cyanide. They don't look like they're exactly vibing. You got Tobias, who's of course kind of keeping them at his own whim, and I like that dynamic. I like that dynamic where it's they're a team, but they're not exactly a team because they are expendable. And when I say expendable, you can take a good look at your boy Lala, because Lala, oh, he took an L right fast. They blew his butt up. And I like how we get the slow reveal on what Lala or who Lala is, because when he came back to life, it was like, yo, how did he come back to life? Who brought him back? And now kind of discovering that, you know, not only did Tobias bring him back, but Tobias was the one who kind of shepherded the technology and kind of made sure that he would be working with him and having the, you know, the devil deals the cards. And it was just something cool that I think that was necessary for this show. Like, at first I was like, oh, they bringing him back to life. But now I think it's necessary, and I think it's worth having him, well, worth having him around. You know, it's super dope. This week's episode was the finale. And I'm sorry I didn't see what your name was, but yes, this week's episode was the finale. It was only a 13 episode season. They probably, you know, since it's brand new, they wanted to give it some time and, you know, let it, you know, see if it would catch on to the community. And when I say the community, I don't mean the black community, even though the black community is very important. But in this case, I think the superhero community on CW as a whole, I think they were trying out to see, you know, if it'll work. Because a lot of new shows get that short run. But I think with the way this show was written, the way this show ended up kind of like playing out, I think I don't think they'll have any problem with getting a full series order. Even though I'm really not mad at the 13 episodes. You know what I'm saying? I'm really, really not mad at all. Oh, also, everybody that's watching, thank you so much for rolling through. Also, let me know down below what your favorite parts of this episode were. And we can vibe and talk about that as well. While I get into what I was feeling about Proctor and his end. Proctor is one of those, let's see. It better get renewed. Savage, you are absolutely right. It better get renewed. If it don't get renewed, I'm showing up at CW's door, son. But Proctor is one of those guys that, you know, a show needs. You need that kind of, that government slimy dude. Because even when they were running away, when Tobias's team Team Tobias was attacking the ASA, he kind of left, and even left his you know, the last dude, he had to leave him out there, and he did. It's been renewed. Thank you, David Johnson. Thank you. Because I didn't know it had been renewed. So thank you for throwing that down in the comments. So in this case, there's no need to storm the CW offices because the show has already been renewed. Salim Akil, Mara Brock Akil have done a fantabulous job on this show. So they have really, really crushed it. Also, the way, I guess back to Proctor, the way he interacts with the other villains, you need that guy that's kind of just arrogant to a fault. And we see at the end how his arrogance plays out. all in all, this episode was straight flames because I like how we spent some time slowing it down. Even with the memories of, the father and the son, and dealing with that past and the past of, having those loose ends, not tying that up, not being able to say goodbye to your father like you wanted to. Like, you had the scene with the funeral, and I love how he played out and was able to watch his father tell his younger self, the same thing that he's telling kids today. Live your life. It's your life. Live it by any means necessary. It's something that, of course, was instilled in him, and he wants to take that goodness and that power and that prophecy and put it into the youth that he comes across. And that was just something strong for me because we got to see a scene with two black men that said sorry to each other. And I know that seems weird, like, oh, well, of course you say sorry. But that's something that we don't see normally on television. We don't normally see like a black man with another black man and just being humble and being open to him and just saying, you know what, I'm sorry. I wish things were different. I didn't want this to happen the way it did. And it's just, man, that's a beautiful thing. Also seeing how the show played out later with, with the attack on the cabin and seeing the family come together without much of a squabble and coming together and playing all of their roles. Seeing the love from Jen manifest her powers and supercharging her father, that just shows where he gets his strength from. A father gets his strength from his children, and his strength from his children is used to protect the family. It was beautiful, yo. It was beautiful. It's beautiful in ways that I can't even imagine. The show has really taken off for me in a way that I'm just so happy that we got to see this. Because this is kind of like the black family show that I was hoping to see. And normally I would have probably expected it to see it in like a sitcom form. But I love seeing that strong family dynamic. See, oh, Cassandra, it's nice to see you. Oh man, you got one more hour, yo, just one more hour. I love, I just love seeing how they handled the black family in the black community. And I tweeted out while I was live tweeting the episode, when they all stood up together and they had decided that they were going to fight back against the assault on the cabin. They did. I tweeted out like, this is the foundation of the family is the strength of the community. And it was just, man, it was great to see them come together. And then even outside, even though we saw that they did have weapons to kind of stop or inhibit thunder, we saw just a concerted effort. And I love to see them working together like they did, man. It was just, dang, this show is great. So that pretty much wraps up kind of my thoughts on the episode. Guys, of course, jump down in the comments or jump in the chat. Let me know what you thought about this episode, your favorite moments, because I'm going to start going to favorite moments now. Favorite moments. One is when Lala kind of was trying to fight against the control. To find out that he was kind of like a Manchurian candidate, maybe, I guess you could say. That was something that I did not see coming, and I'm glad that we got. So that was one of my favorite moments. Another favorite moment was, of course, the recharge of her father. That was a great moment. Hearing Shining Star come on. Matter of fact, the score and the soundtrack of the show in general is just, one of those is a favorite moment for me. Gamby preparing to lay down his life for these people who aren't his family by blood, but he's come to know them. He's come to sacrifice with them, for them. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm so just impressed by the writing around his character. Another thing is the news clip at the end of the episode. I thought that was dope. I love how they've played the news in this show to kind of align with what's going on at this time in news and, in our cultural zeitgeist, in our societal situations, and kind of taking pieces of history and aligning with that. So this show has done a wonderful job on that as well. Probably another favorite moment of this episode would have to be just the history and the relationship and context around Gambi. I really love that. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you for rolling through. Much love. Thank you for always holding it down. And I think I'll see you on Atlanta on Thursday too, I think. But yeah. Also, I think my last favorite moment before I get into the show as a whole, my last favorite moment I probably have to say would be Khalil. When they had the red lights on him, he just looked so menacing and so evil, especially after having that kind of like pump up the bad guy pep talk from Tobias. I just liked seeing him in the all red lights and, hitting people with the darts. It was something that I thought, it just looked good on his character. I don't want him to be a bad guy, but we do need a bad guy. So I guess in this case, somebody got to be bad. You can't just have good guys running around with nothing to do. So in this case, I think that was another cool moment. We just had the red light shining on him. And I think last is the power up when Black Lightning first powered up after being recharged by Jin, was wonderful too. So funniest moment of this episode was Jin electrocuting Proctor and her dad, of course, Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, being like Jin and like Jennifer and like her, she shocked him and slammed the hell out of that dude. So I really like that as well. I thought that was like top quality, top notch stuff. That was just, it was funny, but it wasn't played up for laughs, but it ended up being funny anyway. Of course, guys, let me know in the chat what your favorite moments were, what the funniest moments were for you. Let me see, what else really got me this episode? I'm trying to think. This episode, what got me, what I didn't expect to see this episode was the way we got the description about cyanide and about Khalil. Because we saw her arm when it got cut in the last episode that it was like metal or something like that. So we did get a description. That's something that I did not expect. Well, I guess in this case, expect to hear, not expect to see. But didn't expect to hear that. To get a description of who she was, her powers, and how she was enhanced. So we have kind of like a situation where we have metahumans versus enhanced people, and seeing that play out. And I think that's something that this show can really get around, especially with someone like Tobias, who just has so much vengeance and hate inside of him. Like, that dude is truly bad. Like, there ain't no coming back. It's done for him. Even though you do see how, his dad, Kyle Barker, was treating him when he was a kid. But, nah, Tobias gotta go. He's a great villain, though. Big shout outs to Krondon, dope rapper. Yo, his MCing skills is on point. And now to see him act, is impressive. It's like extremely impressive, because when they casted him, like straight up, Krondon, if you're watching this show, because I know you watch NERDSoul all the time, big shout out to Krondon. When they casted him, I didn't think it was going to work out, man. I was just like, just casting a rapper just because he looks unique isn't a good look. But I was wrong. I was straight up wrong. This worked out extremely well. Extremely well. Just Tobias, he just embodies this role. Krondon embodies this role and kills it, man. Like, Tobias is a true villain. Let's see. I guess we'll get into what I feel about the season now. This season has been an experiment in the excellence and the love of Blackness, which I did not expect to see on a network like CW. it's weird because I feel like this show doesn't even belong on the CW, but it's so dope. It's like I really don't care what channel it's on. And just seeing black people that don't fit a particular type. And when I see, we'll come back. Crondon, Crondon is dope, Cassandra. Like, yo, it's like, dude is on point. But like, I feel that when it comes to CW and other networks like CW, there's a certain black person that they cast. And this show really went far beyond what they would normally cast. And this is no diss to the black men and women that are on CW already. But like they just have a certain type. Yeah, definitely, Cassandra. So I feel like they made a concerted effort to show black people of all shades, even darker shades, because when you look at Lynn, when you look at Anissa, they're definitely darker. And even even Jen is a more brown sister. So it was good to see that. It was good to see the relationship with Anissa, and well, she had a girlfriend, she kind of dumped her. I don't think she really dumped her, but she kind of like slid off and just did the passive aggressive thing. And even when she got with the other girl, there were women of color on this show. And then just seeing the love between Jefferson Pierce and his wife, because a lot of times, unfortunately, in our media, we get a lot of kind of like fractured and broken relationships between black men and women that they never repair. But in this case, we've seen them throughout this season at least trying to repair it, and you can see that they have a relationship where they're not at all at odds. You know, there's a couple of things when it comes to heroism that they don't agree on, but these two people love each other, and they show each other that they love each other, which I think is something that's great. Also, their parenting in this show together and not one over the other, or one is trying to outdo the other, or they're not trying to compete. This was a beautiful look at a black family. Of course they were divorced, but they're divorced, but they don't play it like they're divorced. You know what I'm saying? They're still a unit for each other and a unit for their children. So I think that's dope, man. It's just something else that just shows how important this show is. The show is incredible. The score, I've talked about it before, but the score and the soundtrack have just been, man, so good, man. They've done a good job of giving us some new flavor and giving us that old school flavor too. And the show has crushed it on the music tip. I also like the direction and the shots that they pick have been very well shot, very well put together. Definitely, Cassandra. They don't, I guess, because in a lot of shows you see where kind of like one parent tries to outdo the other to, I guess, like get the love of the kids, but they make sure to let their children know, like, just because we're not specifically under one roof, at least 24/7, we are your parents. So yeah, definitely we need more shows like this. It's weird because in the 90s we had a lot of black family shows, and excuse me, we had a lot of black family shows, and now it just seems like they've kind of fallen away for more of like the reality TV stuff. And reality TV has its place. It's entertaining, but it seems like it has replaced the black family structure and the black family unit on television in a way that I believe could be negative. But that's a whole nother discussion. One thing that I probably want to step up in next season is the fight scenes. Now, of course, I know fight scenes cost money, so you got to kind of like lessen them. But I'm an action guy, so I want to see more fights. The more punching, the better. Let's see. Sorry, Dayfield. I saw your comment, but I missed it. I missed it all the way. Let's see. The more fighting, the better. The more punching, kicking, I'm down with it. Every time Tobias chokes somebody out, I'm happy with it. Very great show. Like very great show. Glad you rolled through. Nice to see you, Day. Man, it's just the way they came with how they pushed off the electricity to like block bullets. The way they play, especially the thunderclap from Anissa, I love that effect. Seeing her stomp, I love that effect too. And also seeing them fight kind of back to back, like saving one another. I love that. So of course, the more I can get, but you know, they probably have to sacrifice story, which I love as well, because this show is, I will say this show, besides me, you know, loving, you know, people getting beat up, this show is very well balanced. And let a brother take a sip, a little swig of the canteen. Shout out to water, you know, big shout out to Mother Nature, you know, get your hydration on. But the fight scenes, the family drama, or well, I mean, I guess not the, you know, the external forces, not the internal forces. The issues at school, the vice principal. There's so much that is layered well and paced well, which I think this show does, you know, to its credit in a way that other shows don't do, because we show the fullness of this hero. Tobias is definitely one of the dopest villains out there, man. Like, and matter of fact, I'll go in and say this. When this show was first announced and they said that, Black Lightning won't be in the Arrowverse. They're like, you know, it's not going to be connected to the Flash and to Arrow. And at first, when I heard that, I was like, man, that's messed up. I feel like they're trying to, you know, hamstring this show and trying to mess it up and you know, I guess make it seem like it's less than. Very close to reality. And now that I've seen the whole season, I'm actually glad. I'm actually glad that it's not part of the Arrowverse. I don't think the show needs it. I don't think that the Arrowverse can do anything to enhance this show. I think that's it. I don't think that the Arrowverse, whether it be Flash, whether it be Supergirl, whether it be Arrow, can do anything to positively impact this show. I think this show is great on its own and should remain on its own. Unless it's a situation where it's like on Earth 19 or something like that. But I think this show does well by itself. Now, as far as the show as a whole, or this season as a whole, I want to give a shout out to the guy who played the inspector, now the deputy chief. I think he's deputy chief. That brother has been in a whole bunch of stuff. Definitely Jade. And Jade, thank you for rolling through. Hey Jade, how you doing? It's like a cut above. It's weird. Like I said earlier, I feel like this show doesn't belong on the CW because it's on a whole nother level. I feel like the music is better, the score is better, and like what I mean by music, you know, bringing out Shining Star, having like, I think they had some Al Green in before, like when Lala killed his cousin, you know, just that, and then the score, like that music, the mood music when the attack on the cabin was happening. I just think that is on a different level than the other CW shows. I will say big shout out to Arrow. I like their score music the best, but I still think it sounds very rushed sometimes when I hear it. But this show has really come through on the music tip. But back to the inspector, hashtag deputy chief now. I like that he got his little arc. He had his arc with the dirty cops, and I didn't think it would be resolved this season. I really didn't. And to see it resolved how it was, I'm pleased with that. You know what? John Diggle, I would like to see John Diggle's perspective. Thanks, David. John Diggle's perspective on Jefferson Pierce as opposed to Oliver. I think that could be interesting because they handle heroism a lot differently. I think Jefferson Pierce gets the same amount done without kind of like the I don't know, melodramatic attitude of Oliver. Oliver is very up and down, and don't get me wrong, he's gone through some stuff. But I feel like he has a very melodramatic attitude towards heroism as opposed to Jefferson Pierce. But it's similar to the argument, and this is getting into Arrow a little bit, guys, so I'm not sure if you watch Arrow too. But it's similar to the argument that they had last week or week before last when John Diggle and Arrow fought. They came to blows a little bit. And at the end of the episode, John was talking about the reason that he fights for his city. And it's almost like I feel like Oliver sees heroism as like a chore that he has to take on, and as opposed to Jefferson Pierce and now the whole family, I feel like they wear like a badge of honor. Like they owe it not only to the city, but they owe it to themselves. And it just shows that not only is the Black family the foundation of the community, but the savior of the community. And that's, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. So that's something else that I love about this season. And yeah, guys, fire in the chat what you're digging about this season, because I'm just talking about the season as a whole now. Lady Eve, I didn't think she was going to get killed like that. And I'm kind of mad because I love Jill Scott. Yeah, see, NBC, ABC, CBS, yeah. You know what? I would like to get the exposure, but I think Dave put in there talking about Constantine. Constantine did not get the love it deserved. Constantine, especially the actor, staying on to do the animated series and even staying on to do stuff on Legends, which Legends isn't my favorite, but Legends has its own weird charm, but I don't think Constantine belongs on there, but they really don't know what to do with him. Yeah, let's see. Don't work on major networks. Yeah. Supergirl. It's weird. Supergirl season 1 was very refreshing. I feel like it's gotten, in my opinion, I've seen way too much of her sister. It's not Supergirl's sister. It's called Supergirl. Oh yeah, Heroes. Oh boy, Jade, you ain't never lied. Boy, God, Heroes is an example of a show that could have been straight flames, because season 1 was on fire, and then, well, they also had the writer's strike too, so that messed them up as well. I'm not going to throw it all on them, but you know, that show had some issues, and even when they did Heroes Reborn, But anyway, back to Black Lightning. I think that this show not only does well on its characters. See, Lady Eve and Lala. Yeah, I think Lala gone. He done. But I would love to see Lady Eve back. See, die so soon. Something like Lady Eve died so soon. Yeah, I didn't think she was going to die that quickly. I wonder what they're going to do with her, because Jill Scott is a dope actress, and she was killing that role. And now with Tobias saying that he's the king of Freeland, aka Atlanta, I wonder how they're going to play that out when it comes to, because now he doesn't have a Proctor as a villain. He doesn't have Lady Eve in his way either. Maybe this next season will have him kind of like face off between those other people, between those other, heroes, in the family, of course, and the police as well. Especially since at least a lot of the corrupt cops are gone. Another thing that I thought that was sick about this season, just straight incredible, is that they weren't scared to say that we're a black show. Like they weren't scared to say this is the music that we're playing because this is a black show. They weren't scared to say this is the tone of women that we have on the show because this is a black show. They weren't scared to deal with the hood. They weren't scared to deal with the schools. And you could tell that black people were show running and writing the show because it wasn't done in like a corny or a cheesy way. And when I say that, a perfect example is last summer, I think they announced that Arrow was going to try to do like a Black Lives Matter episode, and everybody was like, me included, we were tweeting like, yo, don't do that. Like, yo, Arrow has no black writers, B. And I don't think Flash has any black writers. I think Flash does have black writers. I'll reel that back in. I think Flash has black writers, but Arrow doesn't. Let's see, didn't want lady. Yeah, man. Cassandra, hopefully we can bring back Lady Eve. It would be beautiful to have that. I would be excited to have her back on the show because Jill Scott, she's one of those people that are she just has that charisma that draws you in. And I think that's another thing that worked for this show. The actors were very believable. Like Tobias drew you in, whenever he was on screen. Lady Eve drew you in. Gamby, he didn't really draw you in, but he played on your emotion because you saw the kind of surrogate father with him and Jefferson. So they used him in a way where he didn't have that charisma, but he had that kind of like sage advice that kind of played on your emotion and kind of got you to let your guard down and kind of like accept him as the surrogate father, as all of our surrogate fathers, and kind of like the surrogate uncle for Jen and for Anissa. I'd be remiss without giving a shout out to Sky. Is her name Sky? The vice principal. I actually met her last week. Great young lady, really cool. We chopped it up about the show for like one hot minute. But she was just excited that we all watch the show, that we all enjoy the show. And she kills it as a vice principal because I didn't see it coming. And that's another thing that this show, I think, did very well, is it threw us a couple curveballs when we weren't looking. I didn't expect her to be working with the ASA. And I didn't expect to see her reaction in kind of a remorseful tone when she set up Jefferson Pierce. You could see when she was at the computer, and the guy, whoever was writing back was probably Proctor, was writing back saying, well, he's in the police station now, too bad, kind of thing. Just seeing the emotion on her face, seeing her kind of put that physicality into the role, she kills it. Yeah, Sky. She is very nice looking. I'm not gonna say. I'll leave that where it is. The funny thing is, in the first episode, you saw her like she was all up on Jefferson. though. I was like, what? Like, yeah, on the real though, I was like, yo, look. All right, from now on, don't come to work wearing dresses. Straight up, don't. You know what? Matter of fact, wear whatever you want to work. Don't come in my room no more. All right, I can't take. Look, I'm just trying to live my life. Nah. But she's gorgeous, and that's another thing. Black beauty on this show has been shown in so many ways. You have Lynn with short hair, beautiful. You have Anissa with kind of like the curly, natural kind of look, beautiful. You have Jen rocking the straight, kind of like, I don't know if I'd say extensions, tracks, whatever it is, sewn in, whatever it is. It's not. It ain't hers, but beautiful as well. And then you have Sky, the vice principal, beautiful as well. So you're seeing these different looks at Black femininity, which I think is just, man, this show just kills it, holding down for Black women. And speaking of Black women, big shout out to Beyonce over the weekend, holding it down for Black women too. Beachella straight killed it. But I think that's another thing that this show did very well. And I think that's something that this show could only do if it had Black people involved, like writing, show running, stuff like that. Another thing that I thought was really dope about this season is that they had 13 episodes, and they really gave you a feel. Like, now that we've watched all the episodes, we know what it's like to live in Freeland. I think that's one of the biggest things. We know exactly what living in Freeland is like. And that's a good job. Let's see. Hopefully this season will bring other celebrities. Okay, yeah. You know what? Oh, matter of fact, speaking of the have and have nots, what I'm trying to think of who she is. One of the ladies from Have and Have Nots, one of the chicks from the hood that was I haven't watched the show in forever. But one of the chicks from the hood was on Atlanta just last week. She was one of Van's friends. They went to the party. And I can't remember. She was the one that was looking at the white girl and was mad at her. So that lady, she was hilarious on Atlanta. But I think they shot this show in a way that we know what Freeland is like, the atmosphere there, the people there, and that's something that the show does extremely well. And the reason I bring that up is because you have shows like the Netflix Marvel shows, and this is no diss to them. What I'm going to say is the Netflix Marvel shows, by setting their show in New York, they don't have to really build the character of the city. They don't have to really build the vibe of the city. They don't have to really build the vibe of the people, because everybody knows New York. You know what New York is like. If you haven't visited New York, you've seen tons of news footage from New York or tons of TV shows based in New York. So it's kind of like a shortcut where you don't have to really do any world building, because you know New York. It's kind of like if they had a show set in LA. But in this case, they set it in a fictional place called Freeland, where they had to show us who the people were, how the people were, the school board. Even when the school board came in, we got to see some of the politics in school. We got to see the police. We got to see. So we got to view the city as this new entity. And I bring that up because I think it was Stephen King who was talking about people that used the Nazis, like World War II. And I think it was him. It might have been another writer, but I think it was Stephen King. And he was talking about the problem with doing World War II, or the problem with using Nazis, is because it's a cop-out. And what he means by being a cop-out is you don't have to create your villain. You don't have to build your villain, because everybody hates Nazis. It's just like it's just kind of like, oh, Nazis are bad. So you don't have to build that villain. That villain's already kind of like preconceived in our minds. That's the difference between Marvel Comics and DC Comics. Okay, yeah. Matter of fact, guys, really quick, David Johnson, thank you. Really quick, jump in the chat. Let me know whether you guys prefer Marvel Comics or DC Comics. Not the shows and movies, but Marvel Comics or DC Comics. Me, myself, I've read more Marvel throughout my life than DC. But I probably read more team-based stuff in DC than I have in Marvel. And what I mean by that is, in Marvel Comics, I follow a lot of singular people. In DC, I followed a lot of teams. Like, you got Justice League, you got JLA, you got JSA, you got the Teen Titans. But in Marvel, the only team that I ever really followed was just X-Men. Outside of that, it was kind of like the singular people that I would follow, or certain storylines that I would get into. Let's see. Okay, all right. I see. All right, I see. I feel got the DC. All right, cool. With me, DC has always been about Justice League, and it's always been about Superman, Batman. Especially the run that they had back in like 2004 or whatever. They had the Public Enemy storyline. I thought that was really cool. Superman and Batman together always gets me. Which is why the movie, you know what? We're not going. We're a Black Lightning. So that show this show on this season, has been just incredible, yo. It's Outsiders is another one. You got Brainiac, or the Indigo instead of Brainiac. But I think this show has really broken out in a lot of ways that I wasn't ready for, and I wasn't expecting, because I was worried when I saw the trailer, because everything outside of the suit I wasn't digging at all. And I was like, I mean, everything outside of the suit I liked, but the suit I was not digging. I was like, suit is stupid. But now that I see it in motion, now that I see the show, I'm not even tripping on the suit, yo. Straight up. I'm not even tripping on the suit. And Thunder suit is way better than Black Lightning suit, but I'm not even bugging on it. Like that's weird that the show is so good. Something that was on my nerves in the trailer, I'm not even bugging about no more. Definitely more Marvel based, but thought the first run of New Teen Titans was a. Oh yeah, are you talking about the run with Judas Contract with Dad? I can't remember who wrote that. And I just did a podcast on that like last year. But New Teen Titans, I think you're talking about the one with Judas Contract. I hope you're talking about that run. That's the run that I know about. Also, if you don't know, there is a crossover between the X-Men and Teen Titans way back. My boy has a copy of it. Let me see it. That will never happen again. But it was cool to see that way back in the day. So guys, in the chat, let me know what your favorite parts of this season were. Because now I'm going to get into certain particular moments in the season that I thought were just hot flames fire. Number one, let's see. Marv Wolfman. There it is. George Perez. Duh. Thank you, David. My number one moment was when Lady Eve was kind of talking to / threatening Tobias and straight up embalming a guy that was still alive. Yo, that showed her level of evil gangster on something that I ain't never seen. I guess the next moment would be when Black Lightning first manifested his powers once again after so long. When the two cops had their guns on him, and they were like, get down, get your black. And when they said that word after black, when you get your black, and they said get it down, and they tried to tase him, and he shot them into oblivion. So that's another moment that was flames for me. Another moment that I thought was real cool was unfortunately what happened to Lala's cousin. When Jen beat him up in the club, she was like, and I actually thought she was cute and like punched him or whatever. That was hilarious. And then when he got beat up by Anissa at the school, oh man, I thought that was funny. Love to see a flashback of Black Lightning wear the suit from the that would have been funny. With the collar and all that, with the chest out, you know what I'm saying? That's right. Let that man out. Let that man see the light of day. Let's see. Another fire moment of this season was, unfortunately in this case, was seeing how far the cops would go to get rid of Jefferson Pierce. Let's see, hologram scene. Oh yeah, I like that too. The hologram scene was cool because you got to see the support of the city. And of course, they're vigilantes and, cops don't like them. But even in the finale, cops had to give it up, man. Cops were like, yo, we'd like to thank Black Lightning. And hopefully this can become a symbiotic relationship where they work in a way where they dovetail to justice. Hopefully. We'll see. Of course, next season we will have much more issues going on. And I'll get to that in a second. We'll talk about that in a moment. Another fire moment for me was 2-Bits. 2-Bits is a great recurring character that's just he's a day player, but he fills my heart with joy. 2-Bits is just one of those characters, man, that you enjoy. He's funny. I like when you first met him, he was like, yo, man, if I go back to jail, I'm gonna get 30 years. And he was like, you think I deserve 30 years? He was like, you deserve something. So I thought that was funny. Also, when we see him again and the lady is pushing stuff off of her, out of her window, trying to kill Black Lightning, I thought that was funny too, man. And just seeing seeing 2-Bits yo, I don't sell drugs no more. He was like, you ain't supposed to be smoking neither. He's like Black Dynamite, I'd sell drugs to the black community. But 2-Bits is a bright spot of this season. Another bright spot of this season, of course, and we talked about it a little bit before, is just Tobias, how involved he's been, how we got to see his childhood, stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, Two Bits is great, man. Let's see. Really like Two Bits, yeah. And then saying True, yeah. They're just great. Tobias, seeing how well he matched with, and I mean, as far as like match like his acting level with Jefferson Pierce. Because there's a lot of times where you have shows where it's very heavy on the hero side and we don't really know much about the villain. But in this case, we know about his childhood. We know about his sister. We saw he lost his sister. We know that the serum that he's taken is making him extra strong, but it's probably making him crazy too. Let's see. Lala tearing the ear off. Oh, yo. I forgot about that. Yo, he did. That's crazy. That's just crazy. Speaking of Lala, him giving up his mama's address, bruh. Like, that's some gangster. Like, let me take a sip on that. Straight up, look. You know you don't give nothing about nothing. If you giving away your mom's address so people can kill them, if you don't come right on that cheese, bruh, that's a whole nother level. Of course, once again, this season, seeing Jen slam Proctor, that was great. And seeing Khalil in the hospital slowly fall from grace. Because, of course, we had to take this guy who was very hopeful, very optimistic, and make him evil. Well, not really evil. They kind of got him over a barrel. But now that the ASA is gone, I don't think there's anyone to take the spine stuff away from him. So maybe we'll see a different Khalil next season. I'm not sure. So now, guys, I want to talk about predictions for next season. Now, I know it's going to be like forever until we see, Black Lightning again. But guys, go in and holler at me in the chat or in the comments below. Let me know what you think about next season. Next season, I want to see, and I know we kind of got rid of him, but I do want to see a struggle on the deputy chief side with cops. Maybe some more dirty cops. Let's see. Lala Mama having some gun skills. All right, because Lynn cocked that. She was like, "Cladow," she won't play it. So Lynn is a card carrying member of the NRA. See, Tora Wells, Edwina Findley. Yeah, and Edwina, I actually met her before. Great woman. Tobias' sister also plays on Tyler Perry's. Oh, I missed that part. Just copy it and throw it back again so I can see the rest of the comment. But Edwina Findley, great, really cool. Met her on a red carpet for Queen of Cotway. It's really cool. Very great, very warm. And I got to meet her for like 2 seconds, but it was fun. She moderated the directors, kind of like the directors panel for Queen of Cotway year before last. I think so. And Queen of Cotway is a dope movie. If you don't mind crying, go in and watch it because it's probably going to get you about right here around the start of the third act. Because it's just one of those movies, man. It just make you cry. I think we're going to get some more dirty cops or a faction of cops that are against vigilantes. Because as the deputy chief, he stood up and kind of validated vigilantes by saying thank you to Black Lightning. So I wonder if next season we're going to either deal with dirty cops or deal with a faction of cops that aren't dirty but are not down with vigilantes and almost kind of hunt Black Lightning and crew. Let's see. Oh, Tyler Perry's "If Loving You Is Wrong." Yeah. Cool. Kelly, great. Thank you, Cassandra. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna get next season. I think outside of Tobias being a villain, which we already know, I think we're gonna have cop issues. I think we're gonna have a lot of police issues when it comes to the operation of Black Lightning and crew. meaning, thunder and lightning. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. And guys, of course, throw your suggestions, throw your theories or whatever down there while I get into the closing, unfortunately, of this stream. Or if you have any questions about, I guess, DC, CW at all, because we can always talk about that for a couple of minutes too. I'm down with that. So, guys, of course, thank you for watching and hanging with me. It's so beautiful to see y'all's sunshiny faces, and it's so beautiful, of course, to watch a show like this and enjoy it all together. Mara Brock Akil, Salim Akil, all the writers. Oh man, there was one writer I was actually supposed to get up with an interview for you guys, but I missed. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, the kids that might have grown up and could be sleeper cells. That's, you know what? That's a great angle. I wonder if they're going to play with that. Yeah, because we don't know what those kids are going to do. I like that. I don't know what's going to happen with them, but I like that angle. To see them, who knows how that's going to play out. So I like that kind of wild card. I'm definitely down with that. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Of course, if you are digging the styles, if you're digging the other episodes, I talk about this dope stuff all the time. So of course, holla at me. I'm gonna holla at you down in them comments. But make sure to subscribe and share this with your friends. You know what I'm saying? If you're digging the styles, if you're digging that nerd soul, you know what I'm saying? Make sure to check me out, to subscribe, to comment on the videos. Let's talk, let's chat, or tweet at me. Did you see the episode where Jefferson wore a Black Panther hoodie? Oh, Steppy did? For real? Oh, what? How did I miss that? He wore a Black Panther hoodie? What? How did I miss it? Because I reviewed all the episodes. So I don't know how I missed that. Thank you, Jade. I'm gonna go back in a couple of weeks. I'll go back and watch all the episodes again. I don't know how I missed that one. He wore a Black Panther hoodie. More power to him. Yo, I'm definitely down with that. Bam, Black Panther hoodies is supported by NERDSoul. But guys, thank you for checking out the whole stream, or little pieces of it, whatever. Thank you for chatting with me, guys. To David Johnson, I think. David in the chat. Cassandra, Jade, Derry, I think is in there. And I think I missed the name, but to all you guys in the chat, thank you so much for hollering at me. Make sure to tweet at me. Yeah, I had to figure out which one too, because I'm not sure. I really don't know. But make sure to tweet at me or check out any of the other videos. Tomorrow I'll be doing something for animation. I'm reading along Darth Vader right now. So Darth Vader Burning Seas Part 2, that'll be up tomorrow. So if you are reading comics, I'm reading Darth Vader. I'm also reading indie comics as well. So if you know guys who are putting out indie comics, definitely tell them to holler at me. I review comics all the time. Well, not all the time, but weekly. And I'm trying to think what else. Make sure to tweet me at OneYoungsta, which is OneYoungsta. And if you don't have Twitter, you should probably get one, because Facebook is going to be gone pretty soon. No, I'm just playing. Facebook ain't going nowhere, but they going through some things. So, guys, before I bounce, I want to say, yo, don't forget to hit up ThatNERDSoul.com, where you can get access to like my podcast, my shop, other videos, backlogs, all kinds of stuff. I keep it right there. Also, don't forget shop.thatnerdsoul.com. I have That Nerd Soul t-shirts, also other t-shirts there that you can check out. But the most important thing that you can do, if you ain't checking out, if you ain't, buying no shirts, if you ain't the most important thing you can do is share the videos. If you're digging a podcast, share it with your friend. If you're digging a video, share it with your friends. And before I bounce, I want to say from me to you, of course, LA, what up? VA, what up? RVA, you got my heart. Much love to Richmond. And of course, before I bounce, big shout out and peace to everybody in the chat. And don't forget, get lit, because Black Lightning is back. Peace. And see y'all guys next time. I'm out.